Okay, so this is the big moment, the one I'm worried so much about. Uh, I've got a lot of attacks coming at him, but he's got a lot of guys. I've got to break him. If I don't break him, he's going to countercharge me with that unit on the right, and I'm in a world of trouble. But didn't fluff my attacks, so very, very happy with that. Killed just a slew of them. I don't remember how many. It must have been at least a dozen or more. He killed a couple Knights Errant, killed a Questy Knight. I think I had him on Snake Eyes. He has a Battle Standard Bearer in that unit to his right, but even with that, it didn't help him. So, decided to pursue with all of them. I could have restrained and reformed, but I just would have got charged. There didn't seem to be any kind of point in that. So, pretty happy with how that turned out. That was a big point sink for him, and I think that's just a mistake in not being used to movement in 8th edition yet. Normally, under 7th edition, I had a max charge reach of 16 inches, and now, although I can fluff a charge, my average, I think, is now 17 inches, and I can charge up to 20 inches. So, I don't know what you can do. You can't stay back forever, but it's, certainly something you have to be careful about. So this is him charging my trebuchet. We aligned that incorrectly, and we changed it later. It should have been that as soon as his rightmost guy nicked that trebuchet, they would have stopped. And so he's going to beat that war machine overrun into the flank of those archers. So there's just another look of what's going on. Yeah, not a whole lot to see. Yep, here we go. So trebuchet is now dead. Those things don't last long in combat anymore. And he's in the flank of my archers. We go to Brett turn 3. So we take the men-at-arms into the unit of Night Goblins. I'm so excited. I mean, we've got 2 ranks attacking, plus because of the Horde rule, I've got all 3 ranks attacking. He's 6 wide, so I get 8 guys, 3 ranks deep, 24 attacks. My Damsel gets off the spell that gives me +1 strength, +1 toughness. So I'm a 24 attacks. There's a champion, so 25 attacks, strength 5. This is going to be bloody. I'm so excited to see it. Take my general up at the top and decide what to do with him. He's got a 1-up rerollable armor save and he's stubborn 9. So I just turn him to face that unit, and I'm like, come on, charge me, and he should hold and buy time for my other knights to reform and then charge out of there. The Questy Knights passed a leadership test for a swift reform, so they reformed facing the way they are now, and then they backed up 4 inches. The Knights Errant, even using the general's leadership, failed their test, and so they reformed, but they couldn't move. And I just wanted to move them because I didn't want to take the chance of anything weird happening and them getting charged. And I have plenty of charge reach to get to where I want to go next. I had considered reforming 1 to support the general on my next turn and charge that unit, but it was just getting awkward. My guys were bumping into each other. So this is after combat. He charged me in the flank. He did 0 wounds. I think it was his 2 wound rolls that were almost all ones. It was just ridiculous. So I won combat. I reformed to face him. I think I've got this one whooped now. Here's another angle of this combat. This is before the fighting begins. So you see he's got 5 ranks plus 1 guy, and I've got 3 ranks plus 1 guy. Here's another look at my general, just daring them to come charge him. And then we go to after combat. And yes, that is after combat. I lost 2 men-at-arms. He lost 2 Night Goblins. It was the biggest pillow fight I've ever heard of. This was ridiculous. 25 strength 5 attacks. It was actually strength 4 because he netted me, but that's okay. I did 2. Wow. I was so excited to see 8th edition rules turn this to a bloody battlefield and nothing like that. They were just whispering insults to each other. Doing a little pillow talk during their pillow fight. It was ridiculous. So combat our turn, he kills a couple, but everybody holds there. And then on his turn, he rear charges with this other fast cav unit. So I thought I had this beat, and no, it just swung to his favor on my left flank. Not that it's going to affect anything else. We go to Orcs turn 4. His unit at the top of his Battle Standard Bearer charges my general. His unit that was by the house charged my Battle Standard Bearer with the Knights of the Realm, and he failed his charge. And that unit is now sitting out there in the open with 3 Knight units in sight. So Yeah, that's gonna be bad for him. There's another unit of that. I love the thought of the Bretonnian fluff finally coming out with the champion just standing all alone, holding up the world. We'll see how that works out. So there is one last picture. During shooting, he kills one Knight of the Realm. He beats the archers, and we played this wrong just because we're both new to the rules, but he beat the archers, he chased them down, and after he overran them, after he chased them down, he reformed and found out you can't do that. You can reform if you don't chase them down, but not otherwise. So that's fine. And over here, the men-at-arms put a whooping on the Night Goblins. They ran away. I decided not to pursue them because I was 10 wide at the time, and I would have run into the house. So instead, I reformed to face this unit in the middle, so I figured I'm just going to bring my men-at-arms into that combat as well. And kind of what I was thinking was I just wanted to pick a few battles and make sure I win them. I could have reformed and then on my turn charge that unit of orcs. And in hindsight, I think I probably should have. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to take the chance of something bad happening, losing the damsel and all that. But again, in hindsight, I would have. I mean, in hindsight, I would have taken one of those units in the top left and supported my general with it. But that didn't happen. So on turn 4, I took everything that could charge and charged that unit in the middle. And just, I mean, whew. When I reformed, I put the damsel on the front right so that when I got in combat, she wouldn't be in harm's way, but she's still able to give, have the possibility of giving bonuses around. And I should mention also with my general, I inadvertently cheated. He had that magic item from the main list, which said for every enemy character he gets +1 strength, +1 attack. And I was just thinking of it as a magic item. Well, it turns out it was a magic sword, and I didn't realize that till after the game was over. So he also had a great weapon. So he had +2 strength every round of combat, and it was just, I shouldn't have been able to do it. And it ended up, him killing 1 or 2 guys more than he probably should have every turn. So up to this point, it's not a huge deal because he's still winning combat, and I'm passing my stubborn 9. But still, I don't like to cheat, and it kind of affects things later. Anyway, that's a better picture of that. Oh, those are just pretty pictures. I love those combined charges with all those knights. So after combat, I win, and this is another big difference in 8th. Instead of everybody coming to one side and then pursuing a defeated unit, that unit flees towards the unit with the most ranks, and then anybody else who wants to pursue it just gets a free turn to where they're facing the fleeing unit, and then you move your full charge distance that you roll. So my Knights Errant pursued, and then my Questy Knights did, but they had to stop because they bumped into my Knights Errant. The Men-at-Arms, I decided just to reform going the other way because I think there might be a charge coming, and I needed to hold up the lines and give my Knights time to turn around. And my Knights of the Realm, I decided to go ahead and just reform them and face the fast cav because I didn't want them coming up, charging me in the flank or rear and holding my guys up for return charge. So his unit by the castle on the right tried to charge my men-at-arms, but they failed to charge. Otherwise, you can just see how he's moving. During shooting, killed another Knight of the Realm. If you notice my men-at-arms, during my magic phase, they have the +1 strength, +1 toughness, so I was ready for that charge should they have come in. With a damsel there buffing those guys up, they can be a pretty formidable, cheap unit. So Brett turn 5. My general is still locked in combat. These guys have a standard, and now they're down to 2 ranks. And so anytime I get more than 3 wounds, I'm actually winning combat now. And because I'm cheating and using that great weapon, that's very, very viable. Lower left, my Knights of the Realm declared charge against one fast cav unit. They fled. They declared charge against the other one. They fled, and so then I just had a failed charge. I really like that new rule, and had I been thinking about that earlier, I might have played the game a little bit differently. But whatever, I'm not complaining. Questy Knights were kind of awkward position. I didn't know how to move them so they wouldn't get charged by the orcs, so I went ahead and just moved them straight ahead, passed a leadership test, marched, and I'm going to discharge the war machines. Otherwise, you can see what's happening. Trebuchet is wreaking some damage here, so this unit is not nearly as scary as it was. On his turn, he gets the charge off, but again, I'm strength 5 with halberds, toughness 4, so I think we're gonna hold up pretty well. My general's now winning combat at the top, so I end up winning this combat down here. My general wins combat. They fail their there are 2 chances of stubborn 8 or whatever they are. So they flee. My general catches them, causes panic in those 2 other units. They flee. He knows he's going to get flank charge with this unit held up with men-at-arms. At this point, my opponent concedes, and rightly so. So one of those games where he had every important roll went for me. He had a lot of bad luck with things, but importantly as well is I think 8th is just going to take a while for all of us to get used to. I was much better off even with just 1 game under my belt, and even then I felt awkward with the new rules. So it's a new game, but it's a lot of fun. I've read some places people complaining that single characters can't hold up whole units now, and my thinking is they can. They really can, if they're survivable, and especially if they're stubborn. That general just rocked. He shouldn't have broken the unit. Had it not been cheating, he wouldn't have, but he would have held anyway until I had some support. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.